Do you hate the thought of working past 55 or 60? Do you hate not being able to live the life you deserve today? Do you hate not knowing what your financial future looks like? It's time to stop doing what you hate. Here's your host, Mr. Harold Green.
Aloha, everybody. This is Harold Green of Brightree Financial Group, and it is time to stop doing what you hate. You know, I hope you are having a fantastic day. As always, I'm excited about today. Going to be playing a little golf a little later on with my buddy, Scott. You know, I hadn't played in a while, so I'm really excited to get back out and just to kind of see what it's like and have a little fun. I've been going through a lot of different things. You know, I didn't really tell anybody what was going on because a lot of times when you tell people your problems, it don't matter anyway, because it's just something that you got to deal with on your own. But just to give you a little hint, my mom was in the hospital. It was really touch and go, and thankfully she's out and she's back home. So those of you who did know, thank you for your thoughts and prayers, and greatly appreciated that. And so I'm ready to get on with this day, this weekend. It's Friday for me, and I'm actually going to be off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Dr. Martin Luther King Day or MLK Day, whatever you guys want to call it, and looking at his life and looking at all the things that he's done for society, humanity, mankind, and that's going to lead me in today's show, the courage to succeed. That's right. In order to be successful at anything in life, man, you're going to need some courage, and you're going to have to be bold. You're going to have to be courageous, and you're going to have to be full of faith. And that's one of my affirmations. I'm bold, courageous, and full of faith. And I say that almost every day when I'm looking at my sheet of affirmations, because I think that having affirmations are a very important thing. It builds me up. It gives me courage. And so I want to talk to you guys today about the courage to succeed. So are you ready? Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's get it. The first thing, you know, when you think about courage, you think about all of the great things that people have accomplished, and you begin to look at their traits and what made them great. And I'll tell you, the one single trait that made them all great is that they all had courage. I've never seen a historical figure that lacked courage. I've never seen a superhero that lacked courage. I've never seen a villain lack courage either. But anybody who attempted to do anything phenomenal had courage. And so I want to talk to you about the courage to succeed, not only in your finances, but in all aspects of your life. And one of the things I was looking at is my own life and why I was stuck in certain areas and why I was stuck in certain things. Why was I not making progress? And I think I shared with you guys a little while ago on our last show about you know, the weight loss thing. I got stuck, and I was talking to my trainer, and you know, he's been telling me certain things I need to make adjustments in, and it's kind of like, yeah, I hear him. And so, you know, at the end of the session, I was kind of like, yo, so John, you know, what about this and what about that? And John was like, yeah, yep, you can try that, yep. You know, and I know what's in his mind. He's like, dude, I told you 1,000 times already, these are the adjustments you need to make, you must make if you're going to get the progress, because honestly, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results is the definition of insanity. And so, you know, I said, all right, tell you what, I just sent me my progress report of since I started training with you, you know, my weight loss and my body fat percentages and all these different things. And so he sent it to me, and I just sat there and looked at it, and I'm like, dude, I'm working really hard. But what clicked in my mind was, had I made the necessary adjustments that he said I needed to make? And the answer was no. And I began to ask myself, dude, why are you not making these adjustments? You're paying all this money for a trainer. You're working out. You're doing all the things except for a few. Why aren't you doing them? Why are you afraid to make these simple adjustments? And it was in my mind that although these adjustments are simple, they're actually pretty hard, because it's going to require me to make some changes in my life that I don't know if it was fear. Maybe it was fear, but I think maybe it was. I didn't have the courage to make these decisions. Why? Because it's going to cause things to change in my life. And the question is, all right, how do you deal with these changes? Why are you afraid to deal with these changes? Things are going to happen, and you need to make the adjustments, and the repercussions of these adjustments are going to be A, B, C, and D. So you got to figure out how you're going to deal with them and just have the courage to deal with them. That's as simple as it gets. And so I said, okay, all right, I made a choice. And now I need the courage to stick with my choice. Every time the opposition to my decision roars its head, I got to tell myself, dude, look, all right, man up, take care of this, man up, take care of this. The adjustments are not forever. They're temporary adjustments to get over the hump. You can do this. You can do this. As a matter of fact, not only can you do this, you have to do this. You don't have any other choice. It's the only way over to the other side. You can't go back. It's too late to go back. And I'll talk a little bit later about burning the ships and how that's something you're going to have to do in order to get to where you really want to be. You got to burn the ships. So what is this courage thing? I think courage kind of swells up from the inside. That's what I thought until I had a conversation with a friend of mine, Mr. Marvin, and we were talking about leaning on each other and just being there for one another. And he said, you know, when you look at the Navy SEALs and you look at all these commando guys, it's not the toughest and bravest guy that wins the battle. Why? Because he needs the support of his brethren. He does not go into battle alone. And we believe that that is the trait that makes all the Navy SEALs successful, because they know they have somebody willing to die for them, willing to give their life for them. And they draw strength from that. They draw courage from that. For me, it's a biblical perspective. I believe as a Christian that Jesus died on the cross for me. He gave his life for me. And then he rose again, and now he sits at the right hand of God, praying and interceding on my behalf so that God doesn't just strike me down because I'm full of foolishness here and there. But we draw strength and we draw courage from one another. And once that courage gets on the inside of you, you can do some pretty amazing things. So how do we get courage? There's a couple of different ways I think we can get courage. We can get courage and draw strength from the friends and the people around us. Are you surrounded by strong people? Strong people that success just emanates from them. They breathe, sleep, drink, eat, whatever. Success is just part of their DNA. Do you have people in your life like that? Or are you surrounded by people that are not successful? They don't want to be successful. They don't want to get ahead. They're scared of everything. They're scared of everything that comes their way, right? There are people that they worry a lot. And that's not a good trait, because the Bible talks about fear not. Fear not. Who of you, by worrying about anything, can add one day to his life? Nobody can. So why worry? Do not be afraid. Take heart. Be of good cheer. Be courageous, right? So who are you surrounding yourself with? You can draw strength from these people. For me, another good thing I do is I read my Bible. I draw courage from reading the Bible. Or you can go to church. Some people go to church, right? And they get courage by hearing the testimony of other people and how other people have overcome similar situations. I know that's what I used to do a long time ago. I used to love waking up early in the morning, going to church and just kind of hearing all the testimonies and just seeing people that, I knew their story and they were, came from nothing. And then all of a sudden they became successful. Not all of a sudden, but it just seems like all of a sudden and suddenly they had their major breakthrough. And I just drew strength from that because I knew if they could do it, I could do it too. Right? God is not a respecter of persons, right? As long as you do the things you need to do, you will have your breakthrough. I drew strength from that. Another thing I did a while back was I joined a mastermind group, and it was fun. Being in a mastermind group is a lot of fun. You are with like-minded people that have the same goals, that have the same beliefs, that are pressing forward, and they are moving ahead, and they are climbing the mountain, and you are climbing the mountain with them. And as I was talking about the military facet earlier, you see your brothers fighting, you're fighting there with them. And in the mastermind group, it's the same thing. You can lean on each other. You can draw strength from each other. You can draw courage from each other. And when you see one brother slipping or sister, you can pull them up, right? Grab them by the hand and say, come on, yeah, we can do this. Or stop your whining. Stop being a coward, right? Make the decision. Do what you need to do. A lot of times I hear people saying, it's not the right time. Sometimes I think that's just an excuse for fear. People are afraid. So now's not a good time. Why is now not a good time, right? The temperature of the water is just right. The financial climate is just right. You got the money, you got the team, you got everything going for you. Why is it not the time? More or less, it's an internal situation, the fear factor that's driving the action and not the courage. Now, I'm not talking about this reckless courage where you go out there and ruin your affairs, right? The Bible talks about the foolishness of man subverts his way, and then his heart is resentful against God, right? Like, you did something crazy and now you're mad, like, I'm being punished. No, you're not being punished. God doesn't punish people. I talked about that. God doesn't sit up there with a big stick beating us over the head. A lot of times we're just suffering the consequences of our own decision, right? But going back to this thing, now is not the right time. Now is not the right time. Maybe later, maybe next time. You know, I deal a lot with that in my line of work, more than I care to. And when I find people not making certain decisions or moving forward with certain things, it's a couple of different things. Sometimes it's the fear factor, but a lot of times it's a lack of knowledge about the process or, a lack of understanding about something. And so a lot of times people need more information. They need more knowledge. They need more insight on it to help them overcome their fear or their insecurity. It's kind of like riding a motorcycle. If you've never ridden one for the first time, or if you haven't ridden a motorcycle and you get on it, it's pretty scary. But the more you ride it and the more you learn about it and the more you get used to it, then the fear kind of goes away. And next thing you know, you're popping wheelies and you're doing all kinds of stuff. It's the same thing in everyday life. It's the same thing when it comes to finances, right? The more you know, the higher you go. The more you know, the higher you go. And the fear will melt away and you will gain courage. And I talk to clients about this. I deal a lot with the market and a lot of different things. And right now the market is just doing what it does every so often. It's throwing a temper tantrum. It's throwing a little fit. And people are kind of selling out of stuff and, being afraid of different things. And what happens if the market crashes and all of this and that? And well, my thing is if you don't need the money for the next 10 to 15 years, that's one thing. But what do we do in the meantime? Well, we rotate the portfolios and we try to find traction and we try to find the things that are working and going the way they need to work to reduce the negative impact on the portfolio. Yes, you're going to lose some money. Of course, you're going to lose some money, but you're going to make money. And the idea of investing is hopefully you make more than you lose, right? That's the game plan. So all investments do carry the risk of loss. Do go out and do your own research before you make any decisions, and don't rely on anything I say in my shows as gospel truth. You got to do your own research and then hire your own independent advisors and do your research and do your risk assessments and all of that, because investments do carry risk of loss. But that can't stop you from moving forward. The fear of loss cannot stop you from moving forward. Too many people fear loss over the opportunity to make money. I told my wife yesterday, I said, look, we're coming up on a different quarter. So there's some things going on right now in the market that these are opportunities. And I said, how much more can I add in to take advantage of these dips? Because these things are on sale right now, and I don't think they're going to get any lower. And the last time these things dropped like that during inflationary periods, they were up 1,000%, or I'm sorry, not 1,000, but 100% over the next 12 months. I said, that's a lot of money. So, you put in $300,000 now, it's up over 100% in the next 12 months. That's a lot of money. But you got to have courage in order to make these choices, in order to make these decisions. So what can you do to be courageous? Well, you can take the first step of getting an assessment of your situation. For me, if you're going to work with me, I'm excited. I'm excited to have new people on board. I'm excited to have new clients on board. Yes, we've gotten a lot of new referrals, and I'm excited about that. It's an exciting thing for me because it means that people are willing to take a step. They're willing to be courageous. They're willing to seek new adventures, and they're willing to seek new territory, like the frontier spirit. Go out and stake your claim to success. And so if you want to get on my schedule, I would encourage you to get on my schedule. If you're not a client already, get on my schedule. There's a link in the show notes to get on my schedule to do your assessment. And I think it's going to be a very exciting thing. I know it's going to be very exciting because you're going to find out things you probably never heard before. I say a lot of stuff, and I'm going to continue to say a lot of stuff, and hopefully it resonates with you, and hopefully it'll help you get to where you really want to be so you can stop doing the things you hate. Last time I talked about choosing to be different. That's a very important thing, and it takes courage to be different. I was looking at new books because I want to read more, and one of the books I saw was by a couple of Japanese people, and they were talking about the courage to be disliked or the courage to be hated. Because again, in the Asian culture, you don't want to stick out because they have the saying that the tall grain of rice gets chopped off first. The higher you go, if you rise too far above everybody else, the tall blade of grain gets cut first. I don't agree with that 100%. I do believe in being humble, but at the same time, I don't believe in bowing and kowtowing and just living in fear, catering to fear, missing out on all the great things of life, having regrets. You have to have courage to succeed. So thank you for letting me rant and rave at you a little bit today about courage. I'd love to have a conversation with you and help you stop doing what you hate. Everybody has things in their life that they don't like. I've never met a person that everything in their life was going 100% the way it needed to go, especially from a financial perspective. I've never met the richest person that had no monetary problems. I haven't met them yet, because even wealthy people have monetary problems, and that's why they have people on their team. But for most of the people I meet, there's a lot of adjustments they still need to make. And so if that's you out there, get on my schedule. I'd love to talk to you and help you go from where you are today to where you really want to be. So until next time, everybody, 1, 2, 3, let's get it.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.